A very good morning to one and all. Can you all hear me? Okay. I wasn't born just to teach. I was born to inspire others, to change people, and to never give up, even when faced with challenges that seem impossible. So, with this quote, I, Swati from KLRNSI BCA, would like to take this opportunity to welcome our today's resource person, Sarvesh Kakeri, and all my lovely participants as well. Sarvesh Kakeri owns a multi-award winning company, Cubic Code, who is also a TEDx speaker and a trainer as well. And to tell about Cubic Code, which is catering numerous digital solutions to 200 plus clients. Cubic Code was also awarded with the most outstanding web development company at AI Global Excellence Awards 2019. And Sarvesh is also awarded as the best youngest teacher in India at India Education Awards 2019. So now it's over to you, Sarvesh.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, you are.
Yes, perfect. All of you, are we good to go? All are in their fresh minds. It's weekend morning today. Can everyone just go and type yes? We are good to go in the chat box right now. So I will yes, perfect. Vinay saying yes. Only one. Okay. Subha, Somya, and who else? Who else is active? Vijay Kumar, perfect. Vijay Kumar, okay. So we have five. Sandeep, Bharti, perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah. How many of you? I hope all of you are teachers, right? Okay. So since it's a faculty development program, I'm assuming that all of them are teachers over here. I before starting, okay, this is one question I ask all the teachers who are present whenever I meet them. You have been teaching right from past 5 years, 10 years. Some might be in this teaching field from last 15 years or 20 years as well. So my question today is, you have seen students from 2005, as well as you have seen students from 2020 as well. During this 15 years gap, there have been a lot of technological changes which are there, right? So in 2020, everyone has smartphone today. Everyone has access to internet. Everyone has games on their phone. Social media is accessible and they are active on it. So if I had to ask you a question, which of these students are more preferable, or the group of students you like the most are the ones who were there in 2005, or the ones who are in 2020? If you have to choose one, I know both of them are good in their own ways, but if you have to choose one, which would that be? Would it be students from 2005 or would be students from 2020? You can consider all the aspects. Please put it in the chat box. Students of 2005, students of 2020. Students of 2005, 2020. Okay. Vinay is Vinay is more likely to choose students of 2020. Perfect. 2020. Okay. Anyone else? Students of 2005. Okay. So we have majority coming with 2020. Perfect. Very nice. Yeah. So today's webinar is not about teaching you how to teach. You do that better. Here we are going to speak about the modern day teaching. Students in 2005 were different compared to students in 2020. Here we have access to all the things on internet. If one teacher is not teaching good in the college, if I'm not able to understand her teaching, I have other teachers on the internet who are teaching quite a free of cost or at a minimum charge. So here you are mainly focused, you're not mainly focused on the teaching aspect. Here you're teaching on the modern day aspect. So let me share my screen along with you to show. We'll go ahead with the presentation right now. Yep. Are all able to see my screen?
Yes, we are able to.
Yep. Perfect. Yep. Now the first important aspect to go ahead in the teaching is understand students' objective. Okay, by the way, Before we move ahead, if you have any questions you want to ask related to how do I start teaching online, how do I make money by teaching online, or any sort of questions that you have, I'm going to dedicate the last half an hour to 45 minutes on this topic. All right. So the first part of today's session is understanding the student's objective. You all will agree that all students are not the same. They are not. Even I agree that. If like how we have five different fingers, the same way the students also are completely different. Now you need to understand their objectives. In our batch when I was in PUC, okay, or even during school, everyone had a different aim, what they want to be in their lives. Some who join the course might be looking for a job post the course gets over or post their degree. Second set of students that we have who want to start their own business. Third are the ones who already have their parents' business, they're just doing degree for their namesake. We have various sort of students, and every student has his own objective on that you need to focus on. Now, have you seen some students are very rude? Some students are not capable. I would not use the word capable, but they are not interested in doing certain things. Why? Because we are forcing them to do. But if you understand a student's objective, what he wants to do, you can generate something called as hope. And hope is very dangerous. Hope is very dangerous. If you catch on hold a hope of a student, okay, in any terms, you can use it for a positive benefit as well as you can use it for a negative benefit, as negative part as well. I won't say the benefit, but you can use it for a positive thing and as well as you can use it for your negative thing as well. Now, if you understand a student's objective that he wants to get into a company, he wants to get a job post his degree, then you can build a hope around him on how learning one particular section or learning a particular module or particular field of becoming a perfect specialist in that particular section or the language that he is learning that you're teaching over there, he can focus on that particular part and be successful ahead. So the first major objective is understand what is student's objective. Second that we have over here, now this is one of the important thing that you need to understand that most teachers fail to understand, that students nowadays want to learn from someone who implement what they teach. Okay, to be honest, I teach something, a subject called as digital marketing. It's a very common word which is used right now, and there are hundreds or thousands of teachers out there who teach digital marketing as well. In certain BBA colleges and MBA colleges, still there are modules which are called as digital marketing, which they have been taught. But the difference between teachers teaching over there and the difference between teachers who teach in the college and the difference between the teachers who teach in an institute is that the teachers who teach in an institute train on basis of what they practice, on the basis of what they have worked along, not like teachers of college who learn a particular module and teach. So you need to be very specific on that, because at the end students are not, eventually not all students are going to be teachers in a field. That students are going to they are going to implement certain things in a company or an organization that they go. So you need to be specially focused on that. If you are teaching a subject, do not learn something directly and teach. Learn, implement it outside, try whether what problems or the issues that you're facing, and then go and teach the students. That is what is going to help you out. The first type of teacher, as I told you, are the ones who teach on the basis what they have learned. Now, this is where the problem arises. Students are accessible to technology. They are accessible to internet. There are thousands of other teachers out there teaching on internet for free on their own terms, on their own methods. Okay, so those students can relate or compare to the institutional teachers, college teachers, as well as the teachers on internet. So the comparison is becoming very easy. But there are other advantages and disadvantages as well over here. But the reason I'm telling you is when they teach you will be teaching you on the basis of what they are practicing in the market, and not on basis of what they learn and teach. So you need to be very specific on that, that you need to learn, okay, you need to learn, you need to implement and then teach, rather than learning and teaching. How many of you are able to understand what I'm speaking right over here? If yes, please type yes on the comment box so that I understand till where, how many of them are active right now. Yep, perfect, 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 perfect. Coming back, next. Now, this is another thing that I want to tell you is there are three types of personalities that everyone has. Every person in the world living has three types of personalities. Have you seen when even you were in college or school, or even right now when you are teaching and the relation between students, there are, you used to like a sort of teacher, used to love that teacher, and you used to have certain teachers you did not like, you did not like them. Okay, I don't say hate, because you cannot hate any teacher, because teachers are doing wonderful jobs out there. I'm not saying you used to hate them, but you used to not like them, or you used to not connect with them. But whereas there were teachers you used to literally love them, you would like attending their classes. You know the reason behind it? Because of this slide, that is three types of personalities. The first one that we have is a child personality, and child personality you will see in most of the most favorite teachers that you have, as well as the most successful people out there. You will see one personality called as child personality. What do you mean by child personality? Child personality, have you seen a child? If you insult him, if you talk, okay, I won't use the word insult him, if you try to make fun of him, you try to enjoy with him, he does not have a something called as ego problem. The child does not have an ego problem. Okay, you have fun with him, you speak to him, so that is the reason it's called as a child personality. They think, they enjoy, they innovate certain things, they have fun. So you usually like the teacher who is fun, who you can connect with, who teaches in a proper way, who teaches in a much enjoying or much engaging way. So the first thing you need to understand that you need to have a child personality, so that you can relate everything, you can have fun in the class, you can be a teacher. There is a certain sort of like respect level that a teacher has, but you can connect with students, you can have fun. So you need to have something called as the child personality. That is very important. You see any person out there, it might be the best, like it might be Virat Kohli as well, he has a child personality. Have you seen when he's giving after a match, how he enjoys? Suddenly he does not see any person out there. There might be around like a lakh of people in the stadium, crores of people watching him on a television, but he is enjoying, he does not feel that, but he has that child personality. You see any person, have you seen Narendra Modi as well, a prime honorable prime minister? Even when he is given, or even when he is delivering speech, or when he is like when he is attending huge amount of crowd, there is a sense of humor that he carries, there is a sense of fun that he gets, there is a sense of vibe that he creates among the people over there. It's called the child personality. There are so many people who speak behind him, but he, since he has a child personality, he carries on with those things. So the very first important thing, if you want to be successful, is to have a child personality. It might be you as a teacher, it might be you as a friend as well, or it might be in your family or your friends. You have to have a child personality. Second can be a parent personality. What do I mean by parent personality over here? Parent personality is when you show care among students.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, Savesh, to interrupt. Savesh, your PPT is not visible.
Okay. One second. Is it not visible right now?
Yeah,
Or from, okay. Okay. One second.
I guess you have not.
No, I guess you're on the screen sharing. One second. Yep, now is it clear?
No.
No. Is my screen available?
Yeah, the folders I'm able to see.
So you are able to see my this particular Zoom
Yeah,
is written
Zoom.
over. You are able to see that.
Yeah, modern day teacher. The folders are visible, Savish.
One second. Now, no.
No.
Okay, one. Give me a second. Then I
Sure,
will
sure.
open it uh, on Google Chrome itself. Yep. Now, is it visible?
Mm, no, Savish.
Not this. Two types of teachers written over here.
No, no.
Here. Now.
Yeah.
Yep. Are you able to see the three types of
Yeah,
personalities?
yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
able to see.
Perfect.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. So there are three types of personalities. We have spoken about the child personality. The second that you have is a parent personality. Now, parent personality is where you show trust with students. You show the sort of care. Have you seen a parent if you are getting late to the office, or it might be you come late from some party or something? Parents are always the ones who show care. Okay, they are the ones who are going to call you or so similarly, when you showcase a certain sort of care, that means you have something called as the parent personality. And parent personality depends upon the person to person or who is relating to. But child personality is what everyone should have. The third we have is adult personality, and adult personality is what the students are not able to connect with because they are children. They are not of age 27, 30 or so. They don't know what an adult personality is. And when teachers have an adult personality with them, they are not able to connect with students. What do I mean by adult personality? What do I mean by adult personality over here? The ones who have egos with them, the one teachers who always compare themselves with students. If students are making fun or students are like, it might they are not able to connect with them. If the teacher is not able to connect with the parent, sorry, if the teacher is not able to connect with the student, teachers take it on to their egos, and that is the worst thing. Trust me, that is the worst thing when you compare a teacher to a student. Students are far more unexperienced. You have a very good experience. You should never be comparing yourself with the students out there. You should never have an adult personality. This is the personality that students hate. Earlier, students used to hate it from last 30, 40, from the time it has begun, but there was nothing we had put in the theorized form. Right now we have put in the theory form over here. So you should never have something called as the adult personality. Adult personality is the one which you have egos. Have you seen, if you make a mistake, you think back before saying sorry? Have you seen that? You think back before saying sorry. Why is that? Because your ego comes in between. That's what you call as an adult personality. You need to have a child personality, and you need to let go things. You need to let go things. I was a very, very, very bad student in school. To be honest, I was to be very bad student in school up till the 8th standard. Things changed after that. Okay, up till the 8th standard, I was a very bad school. I very bad student. Teachers used to hate me. Trust me, teachers used to hate me. To a certain period of time, after a couple of years, and then I understood what problems those teachers face while teaching. What problem happens when students are not able to connect with teachers? What problems happens when students try to make fun of teachers, which is very bad, which is very wrong, I would say. Okay, so after a certain period of time, the students will understand their own mistakes. You as a teacher need not take it on your egos. It's not the right thing. So the point over here is there are three types of personalities that everyone carries. The first year we have the child personality, second year the parent personality, and the adult personality. Try to eliminate adult personality from you and be a child from inside. You will see students liking you, and you will see students connecting with you. Why? Because you are both being on the same personality levels. So do this change from today. Lose out your adult personality and be a child. That will definitely help you out. This takes me to my third slide, that have a training school rather than an institution. What do I mean by this? Okay, I'll ask you one question over here. Why have we seen the tuition classes, the tuitions, or the coaching classes, or and other private coaching classes which are there being more successful, or more students tending to go over there rather than college and institutions? All the students who take admission in college or students also take an admission in coaching classes at some point of the other. It might be after their college or during their college time. Why is that so? Can anyone give me an answer to it? What do you think? Why is that so? Where's the chat box gone? A second, okay. I think this is the first time I'm using Zoom, so I'm not that controlled. Swati, can you just showcase where the chat box is? Because Swati,
Hello, you can just
yep.
find it here and below.
It's not in the bottom screen. That's why. Yep.
You got it?
No.
Savish, could you find it?
No, I'm not able to find it actually.
Just click on those three dots, no more.
Okay, those three dots.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to tell
Yep,
the
yep,
chat?
yep, yep, yep. No, 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 no. Got it. Sorry, this is the first time I'm using
Yeah, that's okay.
Zoom. Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, okay. So here we have getting personal attention. Then we have, because some students won't understand the method of teaching, personal attention, again, students' interest in that subject. I'll tell you one of the reason behind it. The major reason students join, because I have trained over 1,000 students in last 3 years right now. Okay, only in 3 years, personally, I have trained around 1,000 students. So I'll tell you one major reason that students join to a training school rather than an institution out there is because they get to learn, or the examples used while teaching. My screen is visible right now, right?
Yes, it is visible.
Yep. The reason all students join is because the major reason students join is because in and college they teach on basis of marks and not how one particular subject is going to help them out in the market. Okay, to let me break down this to you. In your class you teach them on basis of saying this particular question is going to come for 5 marks, this particular question is going to come for 15 marks, this particular question is going to come for 2 marks, and it will come around 5 questions from this topic will be appearing. This is a major mistake that a teacher is doing. You are supposed to teach them on basis how this learning this particular language or this particular topic is going to help them when they undertake a certain client, how learning this subject is going to help them when they join this company where this is going to be used. So none of the teachers what I have met teach on basis of how it is going to help them in the future, rather not of marks. In institution, this is the major issue or the major point that we are able to see. Whereas if you join any training school, they teach you saying this particular, for example, social media marketing, you can undertake projects, such type of projects, you can earn such type of money, you can get such types of job, you can make so much of salary where all these companies are there. So you need to teach them on basis how are they are going to get helpful after their degree gets over. How many of you are able to understand the point till here? Can you please type yes on the chat box right now? Then we can go ahead with the next form. Please type yes if you have understood till over here. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Great to see everyone connected. Now, let us go to the next point is do not ever stop students from using technology. Never. Never ever stop students from using technology. During a class, I had a wonderful teacher in my PUC. Okay. He used to encourage us to use smartphones in the classroom. Did you know? He used to encourage students to use smartphones. Earlier, even now, you might think that what am I saying? This actually disturbs you while teaching. Yes, I completely agree. It disturbs you while teaching. But but now, imagine, I will tell you what he used to have. This is the very fun thing that used to take place. So he had given us a permission that you can use smartphones in the class if consider I have written something on the board and you want to take a picture of it instead of you don't want to write it in your book. I'm completely okay with it. You don't want to solve maths, there is calculator in your mobile phone, you can use it. If you want to Google and find out answer, you can do that, because here students are accessed with technology. I need not learn a table of 15, okay, because I am accessible to calculator within a second. So instead of me calculating, I have a calculator in my hand that I can immediately calculate. So I'm access to technology which was not there 10-15 years back, which is there right now. So you need not spend time learning that. So what he used to do it, but if your phone rings during the class hours, okay, this is a very fun part. If your phone rings during the class hours or when I am teaching, you have to pick up the phone. You have to pick up the phone and put it on speaker and speak. Can you see how embarrassing it would be? Yes or no? How embarrassing it would be if you had to make a student pick up phone, and it might be anyone's phone, it might be your mother's phone, it might be your girlfriend's phone, it might be your friend's phone, it might be anyone's phone, and you have to put it on speaker and speak. But he never stopped us from using technology. Students are bound with technology. We are bound with information. Did you know that we are more access to information right now than what technology was there back into 1960s, where America was able to put a man on moon. We have more technology in our hands right now, palm of our hands right now. So you should never ever ever stop students from using technology. Remember this. Next, do not follow a tradition. Do not ever follow tradition. The point to tell you is the students who were there in back in 2005 and the students who are back in 2020, who are there right now in 2020, are completely two different set of students. Completely two different set of students. You cannot have the same curriculum, the same curriculum and the same way of teaching. I'll give a beautiful example over here. Now, since all of you, most of you will be from the computer science field, is what I am assuming. Back in this is something back in, okay, so consider you are someone from civil engineering field. Okay, you're from a civil engineering field, and in civil engineering field, uh, 500 years back as well, there was bricks being used, there were stones being used, there was cement or other fields which have been used to build a building or to build a fort or build a small house. 50 years back as well, there were stones being used, there were cements being used, the rocks were being used, the sand was being used. Even today is the same way these houses are built. 50 years down the line, the same way it is going to be. But it is not the same way when it comes to computer science. 20 years back, we were not able to have data at such a cheaper rate. We did not have such smartphones. We did not have access to internet that easily. We did not have social media back then. So 20 years back, the languages that were used or the teaching that was used were different. 5 years back, it's different. Today also is different. Have you seen your smartphone that you use right now? You must have purchased it in last 1 year or 2 years, or max you must have purchased that smartphone 3 years back. No one, I can bet that no one is using the smartphone that you use right now more than 4 years. I can bet on this part. You require updation. You like faster smartphones, you like better cameras, you like good RAM, you require good quality, you require good storage. So the smallest thing that we have in our hands in a day-to-day daily basis, that's your smartphone. Everyone wants updation in smartphones. Then why not updation in teaching? Why not updation in the curriculum? Why are we teaching the same thing that is going to be from last 20 years? Why is that? Why are not we updating? Why are we not moving ahead? So this all will turn out when you as a teacher take an initiative. I never call a teacher a teacher. I will always call a teacher an influencer, because you have no idea how big influence you make on teacher's mind. A good teacher can make, or a good teacher will definitely make a very great student. You must have seen whatever you are today is because that one teacher who helped you, or that one teacher who did not help you. It is definitely whatever you are today is because of your teachers. And teachers should not follow something called as a tradition. I'll give an example, one more example. Can you see these two circles over here? Yes. How many of you feel that the red circle is bigger, and how many of you feel that the blue circle over here is bigger? If anyone feels, there is one circle that is bigger, okay, there is one circle that is bigger. If you feel that it's the red circle, please type red in the chat box. If you feel that's a blue circle, please type the blue in the chat box. But there is one circle that is bigger than the other one, so you need to let me know which one that is. Red. Okay, Ishwari says it's red. 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 Shreya says both are same. Okay, but Shreya, you have to choose one. Which one that is? It's a red or blue. Okay. Now, before I said anything to it, it's either a red or a blue. Your first instinct was, "Arey, these both are same," right? Your first instinct was that both are same, right? They are same. They are equal. They both are identical. They are red. Sorry, they are the same. The red circle as well as the blue circle over here, they are same. What did I do? I just influenced you to choose which one that is. I influenced you to choose one. You might be having a question saying that both are same, but I made you influence to choose one of it. And this is what teachers do. You influence. So imagine one or most of you have said red. I convince you, I somehow convince you that the red circle is the larger than the blue one. That's what I did right now. I convinced you that the red circle is larger than the blue one. So I mean, enough of, if you tell this enough number of times, it becomes a part of your reality, because you are following a tradition. When you follow tradition through a particular period of time, it becomes a part of your reality. And once it becomes a part of your reality, it keeps on moving to generations to generations. Tomorrow you are going to tell others that this the red circle is the larger than the blue one. That 10 people are going to go and tell another 100 people that the red circle is the larger than the blue one. It goes and follows as a tradition. Now, just because it's a tradition does not mean it has to be followed. Remember this. Just because it is a tradition does not mean that it has to be followed. Keep this clear. Just because it's a tradition doesn't mean that it has to be followed. There is something the easy way and there is something the right way. You have to make students understand the right way. You need to teach them the right way, not the easy way, or the ones that you get convinced. Our minds are wired that way, that we get convinced by things. Our minds are wired that way that we get convinced by the things that our mind finds it easier. That our minds finds it easier. What do I mean by easier? How many of you at the start when this lockdown started, how many of you were told and you also believed that China was the one who actually started this coronavirus purposely? Say yes. Say just type on China. If you feel that China purposely started this, how many of you feel before the lockdown? Okay, this is something like on somewhere in April. You felt that China did it on purpose. Say just type on China, because earlier I'll say okay. Yes. Okay. Perfect. All of them saying yes. Why? Why was that? Because that is easier to convince, right? Khalas, like if you say that China did it, over, end of the discussion. You won't go deep into some things. That's it. You are going to it's easier to convince. Our minds are wired that way. something gets easily convinced, we don't go into deep, uh, we don't dig into the root of the cause, we don't dig into the reality, we don't want to see what is the truth, we don't want to see that, we want to understand what is easily convincible. And this is what happens when you follow a tradition. So as a teachers, you need to teach the right way, not the easy way, or not what is easily acceptable. The right and the easy are two different things. Now, one of my favorite practice, connect with students in the language that they can relate. Connect with students in the language that we relate. Now this is what happens in our market as well. When we speak to our customers, when we speak to businesses, this is one thing that takes place, is connect in the language that they understand. Now tell me, I will give you two cases. Case one, when I'm speaking to a customer, I tell him, sir, my product is world class. It is the best quality that I provide. We are top notch in the market. We are the best service providers of India. We have an amazing team. This is case one I'm speaking to. Now, I'll give you a case two. Sir, this is a product. If you use that product, by that you will be able to earn 100 rupees in minimum every day, because it saves 1 hour of your work, because it is very easy and user friendly. So you can make 100 rupees add on every day, and also you can save a certain amount of money, since this is a fast working and easy product. Which would be more convincible to the customer? Visit the first or the second case? If it's one, just type one. Is it two? Put two. Is it the first case or the second case? Soumya said it's the second case. Great, great. Why do you feel that it's the second case? Because the person is able to connect with it. Yes or no? The person is able to connect with it. The person is able to relate with it. He can imagine. He can imagine saving 100 rupees a day. That means 3,000 rupees a month. And with that 3,000 rupees a month, I can pay my electricity bill every month. So he's able to connect. He's able to relate what you are speaking. You are giving him examples what he can understand. You are giving an example what is it's there in his day-to-day basis, what he is relating it to. So understand this. You need to connect with students on the language that they understand. A beautiful example with that is memes. A carbon, when it has two oxygen molecules present, it's a weaker person. But when a carbon, when it has one oxygen molecule, can anyone tell me what is this? This is carbon dioxide. When carbon has two oxygen molecules, it's very weak, it's friendly, you can breathe it. But when carbon has one oxygen molecule, it turns out to be carbon monoxide. Okay, and it's very harsh to breathe. So this is the language that students use on social media every day. They are connected with it memes. On an average, according to a survey, on an average, a student from the age of 18 to 27, a person from the age of 18 to 27 watches over 30 such memes every day. How much? 30 such memes every day on social media. Even you might be getting that. But memes are now a part of students' life, and you need to teach them in the language that they understand. This takes me to my next point, is keep it engaging and interactive. Ask questions. When you ask questions, they connect. When you ask questions, people are able to, their minds are always running. Right now, the reason I'm asking all of them to type one, type two, type yes, type China, what is the reason behind this? Is I want you to keep engaging. You had to keep them interactive. If you don't ask students a question, students are not going to answer. Okay, and one other thing, students are not going to answer in the 60 batches group. When there are like 60, 100 students, it's not going to have them. Why? Because this takes me to the top slide. What is that? The adult ego. The adult ego. Students are slowly building that adult ego by being with their friends. It might be their family, it might be the teachers that they influence. Okay, they are slowly building that adult ego, and they are not going to answer. Not at all. They are not going to answer if you ask a question in 60 students or 60 or 100 students which are there. You need to have those you need to bring an environment to a such a level that students are comfortable in asking, where other students are going to be helpful to other students if anyone is making fun of it. So you need to make the class engaging and interactive. For that, you need to bring that certain sort of environment in the room, that certain of a sort of positive vibe in the classroom. Then that students are going to be happy to answer. Next is give power to the students. Now, what do I mean by give power to the students? This is one practice that most of the colleges have started right now, and I am 100% sure that your student, the college you teach in, have also started this. Give power to the students. Every student in some other field is very much interested. For example, since it's a computer science field, one person might be very much interested in something called as business analyst. He might be very good at communication. He might be very good at convincing customers related to technology. Why not that student teach other students the same thing? Why not one person who has done a course online, okay, from let's consider Coursera or some another top university's course by spending a amount, okay, how about he teach students what he has learned so that he also learns those things or gets practiced. I this power this give power to the students. What I do in my classes is that if a student takes holiday, I don't teach him the next day. No, I don't teach him. This might sound a bit rude, but I don't teach him. In fact, what I do is the students who have attended that class, I make them teach that student again. And then if he does not teach properly, then I go and teach him again. Understanding my point? Over here, you need to give power to the students. This power is near the teachers. Don't leave that teacher's power and give it to the students. The students teach the other students. This will bring a healthy environment, and these type of things are going to be remembered after colleges as well. I still remember a module of chemistry from us PUC times. I remember that better because one of my very close friends had taught me in a very short amount of span and have giving very good examples. So you need to give power to the students. That will increase their confidence. That will increase their communication skills. That will increase their research skills. And this is what is important in today's market. And this takes me to my last slide of the day, that is solve their doubts and talk to them. Don't just be a teacher who enters in the classroom, teaches for the next 50 minutes and goes out. Solve their doubts, talk to them. It might be even after the class, even it might be even after class, even it might be during the class. I am a teacher who don't take students' doubts after the class. Even I think you should also be avoiding that. You should make students ask their doubts during the class timings. The reason behind it is if one person is asking doubt and you're solving it, the other 60 students are going to get benefited out of it. If the other students get benefit out of that, they are also going to ask more better questions. So solve their doubts, talk to them, be a friend in the classroom. Take their doubts and solve it over there itself, not later into a personal stage. So let's, before ending today's talk, I'm just going to ask you one final question. And since all of you are teachers, what is one basic quality a teacher should have? Please answer in the chat box. What is one basic quality, a very basic quality that a teacher should have? Please type it on the chat box. One basic quality that a teacher should have. Patience, understanding the students, and what else? And all of you, the 94 teachers over here, 97 teachers, 97 participants. Reading students' mindset. Yes, reading students' mindset can be one, or understanding their behavior in the class and fulfilling their desires. Okay. Nope. These are all passion for teaching. Yes, correct. Good communication. So basic, very basic quality a teacher should have is that he should love to teach. It's not the communication, it's not the practical knowledge, it's not a good friend, it's nothing, none of that sort. It's a basic quality a teacher should have. He should love to teach, and not just teach because he is being forced to teach. He should love to teach. That is a very basic quality which we fail to see in teachers nowadays. A basic quality of a teacher is that he should love to teach. This ends my session. I am not going to end this session until unless I solve out all your questions. Please, please put on all the questions right now. If you have, I would love to answer it. I will wait another half an hour, 1 hour, but until and unless I don't answer all your questions, it might be related to online teaching, it might be related to any sort of teaching. Now, during this lockdown, you must have faced a lot of problems. I see that students being very rude online. You have, and very the pressures coming up from the college. I understand all these things. Any questions would you like to ask? Please shoot over here in the chat box. I would love to answer them. Yep. Okay, we are getting all the answers right now. Can anyone have questions? How to handle students in an online class? The term, okay. How to handle students in an online class. Now, this is one of the method which is wrong, first of all. Okay. This is very, okay. This is what I don't follow, or no one follows in the modern teaching. The online Zoom classes that you're taking, the what is happening right now, it's actually wrong. To be honest, it is actually wrong. I'll tell you what you need to be doing instead of this. You need to be recording your videos. Okay, you need, okay, this is very, okay, and this is the really successful method that all most of the teachers who are there in this field or who are good at computers who do that. You need to record a certain sort of videos of teaching. It might be to a module, 5 videos, 10 videos. You can have short videos as well, because students nowadays have a very short attention span, and even when you come into front of camera, you will be very camera conscious. You are not that perfect at it because you are an offline teacher, you are a classroom teacher. So online teaching, you will be very camera conscious, and you won't be that comfortable teaching. So the first thing what you need to do is have a set of videos recorded for that particular module, send them to students and tell them to watch, and you have a webinar as what we are doing right now to solve all the questions and queries. This will reduce all the all the nonsense that students make. Okay, and also it will be better for you and easy for you to pass on your message to the students. So you need mainly to speak with student, like record videos and send them. That is going to be a benefit. Suggest the best online teaching tool. Vinod, what exactly are you like? What exactly do you mean by online teaching tool? Is it like to upload your videos, or this is like online teaching, like how you have Zoom? Vinay is asking, is practical knowledge good or theoretical? It is 99 or 100%. It's practical knowledge, but uh, again, theory is important because theory keeps them it makes them understand in a better way, but practical knowledge is always suggestible, always suggestible. Again, Vinuta is like taking online class. If you're going to have it, you can do it on Google Meet. It is one that I suggest you. You can do it on Zoom as well. But Zoom is also better. But I would suggest you, if you do it on Google Meet. That's an advantage that you'll get. Or you can go with Cisco WebEx as well. That's also a really good one. Or you can also go ahead with something. It is a Microsoft Team. Even that is better. You can go with Microsoft Team. You can go with Cisco WebEx, or you can go with Google Meet. If not, you can go ahead with Zoom. But again, I am avoiding taking online classes. Record your videos, send them, and have a webinar every week. That is going to be beneficial, because we don't know when this pandemic is taking going to get over. Because the way the cases are rising, you never know, it might take 6 months, 7 months. So those set of videos you can utilize for other batches as well. And in the webinar you solve out all the questions, all the doubts that they have. A live session you can take every day for an hour. Yeah. Any more questions? Please put down the questions in the chat box. It would be better. The reason I'm asking to put down all the questions over here is because other people who are attending also get benefited by that. That is the reason you need to be asking questions when everyone is present and not individually. I'll be there another 10 minutes. We'll close the session at 12:10. If you have any questions you want to ask, leave your ego outside. Don't have that adult personality with you. Get into a child personality. Child does not care of anything. You need to put down your child personality over here. Put your child personality and you can put down any question that you have.
Hi, Sarvesh.
Yep.
Yeah, this is Jalaja here, Sarvesh.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay. Um, my past experience says that the students were equally interested in the lectures, whether it's offline, online, whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But holding the students in this generation is become very difficult.
Okay.
Okay, given suppose now let's say we give them a leverage of saying that you all see the videos at your convenience. But since there is no policing done, so they take it for granted and they
Right.
think of something shortcut.
Right.
So how to handle the situation?
To be okay. So to answer this question, there is something what we have, students have, is called as attention span. Okay, attention span. What do you mean by attention span? And this you will notice among you as well. Now, when you are using social media, I'm just giving a random example over here. Okay, when you use social media, we use social media right for around every day, close to 3 hours, 4 hours every day. All of us. Okay, some might be using for 1 hour, 2 hour. You use that, you have been using this social media from past 7 days, 8 days. Okay, just let's assume that. So you are being on social media for close to around 30 hours, for example. Okay, like 20 hours you have been on social media in the last 7 days. You must have seen thousands and thousands of advertisements, right, on this, because after every video there is an ad, after every scroll on Facebook there is an ad. You must have seen thousands of ads. Now tell me, how many of ads do you remember right now? It might be your answer would be hardly one or two. Why is that? Because the attention span in 2020, the attention span of every person right now is very less due to the mediums that we are having. The attention span is very less. So you need to be coming up with something called as your own style. When you're teaching online or anything, you should have your own style of teaching, and you need to have your own way of teaching. When you make a random regular video and you are going to send that student, he is going to obviously compare that your video with some top notch teacher who is there teaching online. Okay, so the level of comparison is going to take place. So you need to create your video which is taking very less attention span, and you're teaching them in your own method or your own way or your own style. So a teacher needs to develop that. You cannot be a regular teacher, come in the classroom, teach and go, or even in the face to face you cannot come and teach and go. You need to have your own style of teaching. You need to teach them on relevancy, that they can relate to. The examples that you're giving should relate to. And third, and the third, it's since it's a very lower attention span, have the videos into short span. It might be a 3 minutes video or a 4 minutes video. If your class is of like around 1 hour, in your class of, if your entire topic when you teach online it's of 1 hour, have that slot into 3 hours teaching or 3 minutes video or a 4 minutes video, and have the cut downs when you're doing it online. And as you said that the patrolling has to be done, you need to be speaking on one thing that was there on my very first slide, and that was building hope, understanding the student's objective. If you know that most of the students are coming for this particular field, like they want to do a job after the degrees, or the one who wants to start their own business or so, you need to catch the majority of the audience and teach them, or what you say, teach them on basis of what relates to them on that case. You need to give them examples on how this topic is going to help them after their degrees are going to get over. So relevancy is important, your attention span, your own way of teaching, and the fourth one is understand the student's objective and teach them on basis of that. Yep. Any more questions?
Yeah, Sarvesh, thank you so much.
Yep. All right. That takes me to the end. Okay, there's some Swati question. This is how. Focus. Okay, I'm not actually able to get this question. My question is that how nowadays academic syllabus is different and the students face when they get into an IT company. Swati, you need to bring this. You need to learn. Like for example, you might be teaching one. Okay, one second. Okay. So basically, Swati's question is what they learn in college is different, and what they learn in college is different, and the one they work in IT companies is different. That is what teacher is supposed to do. You need to bridge that gap. You need to teach them on basis how it is going to help them in IT companies. For that, you need to first implement things, not just teach, not just learn
Feedback
and
link.
teach. You need not just learn and teach. You need to have, you need to learn. You need to implement it and then teach. Online certifications are good or bad is the question asked by Shreya Sudoshi. Online certifications have value. Certifications do have value online. It might be online or offline, but your skill sets have more value. Your skills have more value. Okay, like certifications are to a certain places. For example, if you're studying somewhere in form of VTU University, so VTU is very much famous in this particular area. Tomorrow you go in Delhi also, people might not be knowing VTU. Tomorrow you might go somewhere in Germany also, you might not be that familiar with those particular institutions over there. The people over there won't be like, they won't know that much amount of your education over there or the certification that you have done. So online certifications for a certain value, it's good, but skills are always chosen over certifications anytime. You might have good amount of certification along with you, but once a work is provided to you, and if you're not able to do that, it makes no sense. All right, thank you everyone for being here. Swati is, yep.
So am I audible to you, Sarvesh?
Yes.
So this is Nikita here.
Okay.
So yeah, we are at the end session.
Yeah.
So I don't think so they have any questions.
Yeah. Thank you everyone.
Okay.
For staying
So
connected.
hello everyone. Indeed, it was a very good session.